Right now, somewhere, someone is financing a burrito. Someone else is splitting a bottle of shampoo into 4 easy payments. And someone who is just a little short this week is buying groceries the same way, telling themselves it is only this once. It sounds like a joke until you add it all up. People now owe hundreds of billions of dollars on purchases like these. Not houses, not cars. Things that were eaten, worn out, or forgotten within the week. There is nothing left to repossess. There is only the debt, quietly stacking up behind a checkout button that promises you interest-free. Here's the thing. It is not interest-free. Somebody is paying for it, and it is probably you. This is the story of that button, how it grew into a $300 billion machine, how it makes the most money from the people who can least afford to touch it, and how it rebuilt a trap we outlawed more than 50 years ago, one tap at a time, and got everyone to say thank you. That button has a name. Buy now, pay later. And here is what nobody says out loud. It did not invent anything. It took the loan shark, the layaway counter, and the old company store, dressed them in a clean app with a soft gray font, and walked them straight past a century of laws built to keep them out. Let me show you exactly how. Start with the size of it, because the numbers do not feel real. Every year, people around the world now finance more than $334 billion in purchases through these apps. By 2028, that is expected to nearly double to $687 billion. And this is not rich people buying yachts. In the United States alone, in a single year, one group of these companies handed out 335 million separate loans. The average loan was $135, not a house, not a car, $135. This is the strange thing about the whole business. It is not built on big debt. It is built on a mountain of tiny ones, so small that none of them feels like borrowing at all. Picture how it actually happens. It is the end of the month, your account is thin. You need a pair of shoes for work, or a birthday present, or this week's food. $90 you do not quite have. And at the checkout, a button offers you a deal that sounds like mercy. Do not pay $90. Pay $22.50, 4 times every 2 weeks. Same shoes, less pain, so you tap it, and nothing bad happens. The shoes arrive, the first payment is small, it works, so the next time money is tight, you do it again, and again. Until one ordinary week, you are not managing one of these little plans. You are juggling 5. Different apps, different due dates, all quietly pulling from the same thin account. That is the trap. It does not slam shut. It closes so slowly, you never hear it. To understand why this is allowed, you have to go backwards, about 100 years. If you were working class back then and you wanted something you could not afford, a washing machine, a winter coat, you used Layaway. The store kept the item. You paid a little every week. And only once you had paid it all off did you get to take it home. It was slow and it was boring, and it did one quietly important thing. It made you feel the cost before you ever felt the reward. Then came the company store. Your employer, or the only shop for miles, would hand you credit for the things you needed, bake the interest quietly into the price, and take it back out of your wages before you ever saw them. People spent their entire working lives owing the store, never quite able to get out from under it. And it worked so well, and it ruined so many people, that the country eventually decided this could not go on. So in 1968, a law arrived, the Truth in Lending Act, and its idea was almost insultingly simple. If you are going to lend somebody money, you have to tell them the truth about what it costs. Show the interest rate, show the fees. Put the real price of the debt in plain daylight, so a person can look at it and understand what they are agreeing to. For about 50 years, that mostly held. The trap stayed mostly shut, and then somebody found the gap in the fence. Here is the trick that built a $300 billion industry. On the basic plan, buy now, pay later does not charge you interest. And because there is no interest, for years it could stand up and argue that it was not really a loan, not the kind the old law was written about. No interest rate to disclose, no finance charge to warn you about. No standardized box showing you the true cost. The exact thing the 1968 law was built to force into the open. Rebuilt so that, on paper, the law simply did not apply to it. Which raises an obvious question. If they are lending you money for free, how is any of this worth hundreds of billions of dollars? Simple. They are not doing it for free. They just move the bill to somebody else. Every time you split that $90 purchase into 4, the store pays a cut to the app. And it is a bigger cut than a normal credit card takes. The store pays it gladly, happily, because they have learned something about you. People who use these buttons buy more. They add the extra item. They pick the bigger size. Studies of this are consistent. Break a price into small pieces and people spend more because your brain stops seeing $90 and starts seeing $22. So the store makes more, the app takes its cut, and the higher cost gets quietly folded back into the price of everything, for everyone, whether you use the button or not. That is the first way they make money. The second way is when you slip, miss a payment, and a late fee appears. And here is the cruel little detail. When that automatic charge fails because your account is empty, your own bank can hit you with an overdraft fee at the very same moment. 2 fees, 1 mistake, stacked on the person who was already the most stretched. And if you took one of the longer plans, the ones that run 6 to 36 months, then quietly, the interest was there the whole time, sometimes close to 30%, the exact credit card debt you were trying to avoid, wearing a friendlier logo. But the fees are not even the clever part. The clever part is what it does to your attention. When $90 becomes 4 payments of $22.50, the total disappears from view. You stop asking, can I afford this? And start asking, can I afford the first payment? And the answer to that is almost always yes. Meanwhile, the app is learning. It watches what you buy when your money runs low, what tempts you, and it slides the next offer in front of you at exactly the right moment, in a shopping feed built to keep you tapping. It is not a bank waiting for you to come to it. It is a salesman that lives in your pocket and never sleeps. Now, the defenders of all this have a fair point, and it is worth saying out loud. Most people do pay on time. The default rate on these little loans is genuinely low. But that is not where the damage lives. The damage lives in who is using them, and how many at once. Because the people reaching for these buttons are, on average, the most financially fragile people in the economy. The same borrowers who default on 2% of their buy now pay. Later loans default on 10% of their other debts. This is not a tool for people with money to spare. It is a tool for people who are already underwater, and it hands them a snorkel and tells them to go deeper. And then it hides the evidence. Because most of these loans were never reported to the credit bureaus, the debt is invisible. Not to a metaphor, actually invisible. In a single year, roughly 1 in 3 of these users had loans out with more than one company at the same time, and none of it showed up in the one place anyone looks. Not the next lender, not a mortgage officer, not even the borrower trying to add it all up at the kitchen table. It is phantom debt, real money owed, that the system pretends is not there, until the day it all comes due at once. And increasingly, this is not shoes and gadgets. People are financing groceries, utility bills, dinner. The most basic needs there are, paid for in 4 installments by people telling themselves it is just this once. For a while, the money looked endless, and Wall Street believed it. Take Klarna, the biggest name in the game. In 2021, investors decided the company was worth $45.6 billion, one of the most valuable startups on the entire planet. And then the tide went out. The very next year, Klarna raised money again, and this time it was valued at $6.7 billion. It lost about 85% of its worth in a single year. And in 2024, as more of those small loans quietly went bad, the money the company simply could not collect jumped 35% to over 5 billion Swedish kroner. It turned out the customers could not always pay later either. The whole beautiful machine runs on one assumption, that the most stretched people in the country will keep managing to pay. And when they cannot, the losses do not stay with the app. They land back on the same households with fees on top. So, finally, the regulators noticed. In September of 2024, America's consumer watchdog issued a rule. If it works like a credit card, then it is a credit card. Buy now, pay later would have to play by the same rules as everyone else. Billing statements, dispute rights, the right to your money back when something goes wrong. Real protection at last. It lasted about a year. In 2025, a new administration told that same watchdog to stop enforcing the rule, and then quietly withdrew it. The gap in the fence reopened. As of right now, in the United States, there is no federal rule treating these loans like the credit they so obviously are. A few states are trying on their own. A bill sits in Congress. But nationally, the door is open again. Across the Atlantic, they went the other way. In the United Kingdom, starting July 15, 2026, regulators begin enforcing real rules on buy now, pay later. Actual affordability checks, honest disclosure of the cost, the right to complain to an ombudsman when it goes wrong. And running one of these without a license becomes a crime. Same product, 2 countries, and a coin flip decided by which side of an ocean you happen to live on, over whether anyone has your back at all. So, here is the truth underneath the friendly gray font. Buy now, pay. Later is not the future of money. It is the past, rebooted. It is layaway with the safety switch torn out. It is the company store, rebuilt inside your phone, close enough to touch at the exact moment you feel weakest. The genius of it was never the technology. The genius was making debt feel like a discount. Making it so frictionless, so gentle, so kind, that you would walk straight into the oldest trap in retail and thank the person holding the door. The shoes were always $90. They just found a way to make you pay more than that, in pieces small enough that you would never feel the size of the whole thing. And that is the Racket. If this made you look at that little button a bit differently, do one thing for me. Subscribe. Every week, the Racket takes apart another scam that the people running it would very much prefer you never understood. Stick around. There is a lot more where this came from.